20-year-old cold cases that got solved with DNA, proof time can't erase the truth. A single strand of hair, a fingerprint on a shoelace, a bite mark on a forgotten body. They all sat in evidence rooms for decades gathering dust. Until DNA spoke. Some killers thought time would bury their secrets, but science had other plans. So, how do you solve a murder 2 decades after it happened? Let's begin. When police hit dead ends, they close the case. When families lose hope, they bury the pain. But DNA? It waits. It remembers. And in the right hands, it talks. Thanks to genetic genealogy, advanced forensics, and one relentless generation of digital detectives, cold cases aren't so cold anymore. These are 10 stories, frozen in time, now screaming for justice. Case 1. The Locker Room Secret. Tulsa, Oklahoma, 1999. A high school janitor opened a door and walked into a nightmare. 16-year-old Annalise Ford had stayed late after basketball practice. She never made it out. Her body was found inside the girls' locker room, bruised, strangled, lifeless. No witnesses. No security cameras. Just one smudge of blood on a locker handle. It was tested in 2000. No match. Years passed. Her parents moved. The school painted over the mural with her face. But in 2020, the case was reopened, and that tiny blood smudge reanalyzed. Thanks to next-gen DNA sequencing, a match popped. Not a student, not a teacher, a local plumber who'd worked on the school's pipes the week before the murder. His name? Calvin Mays, convicted child molester. But get this, he died in 2011. DNA solved the mystery. But justice? Too late. A journal entry from Annalise's diary. If anything ever happens to me, tell my sister I was scared that night. Case 2. The Necklace in the River. Jacksonville, Florida, 1997. A woman's body was pulled from the St. Johns River. Naked. Beaten. No ID. Only clue? A cheap gold necklace clutched in her hand. They called her Jane Doe 12. Nobody claimed her. She was buried under a numbered gravestone. Then in 2018, a college student, Jada Wilson, researched her for a criminology project. She noticed something strange. Multiple women in the same area had vanished between 1996 and 1999. All black, all poor, all unreported by local media. Jada pushed for DNA testing. Eventually, a mitochondrial DNA profile matched a living woman in Alabama. The body belonged to Letitia Green, a mother of 3, missing since '97. But here's the twist, the necklace? It wasn't hers. Turns out it belonged to another woman, another victim. DNA never forgets, Jada tweeted when she cracked the case. Now the FBI is investigating possible links to a serial predator. And Jane Doe number 13? She's still out there. Case 3. The Babysitter Vanished. Missoula, Montana, 2001. Riley Banks was 17. Smart. Sweet. Loved sketching cartoons in her notebook. One snowy night in '01, she went to babysit for a couple on the edge of town. She never came home. Her purse was found 6 miles away. Her sketchbook? Torn. Pages missing. Police suspected the father, but had no evidence. For 20 years, her case haunted the town, until a cold case team reviewed it in 2021. They discovered a cigarette butt *** buried under the snow from the original crime scene. DNA testing had improved since 2001. Now, they could test even partial profiles. And guess what? That cigarette led them straight to a man in Arkansas. He was never part of the original case, but he once dated the babysitting mother. He'd hidden in plain sight, visiting town for years. When police knocked on his door, he said, "I knew this day would come." In Riley's sketchbook, found in his garage, one page remained. It showed a girl standing in the snow. Behind her, a shadow with glowing eyes. Case 4. The Picnic Blanket Clue. Fresno, California, 1996. 4th of July. Fireworks. Families. And then a scream. Monica Reyes, age 9, was watching fireworks from a park blanket with her cousins. She vanished in the crowd. Despite helicopters, dogs, volunteers, nothing turned up. For 23 years. Until a DNA genealogist pulled a miracle. The crime scene held one item, a faded red blanket, covered in spilled soda and one hair. In 1996, no match. In 2019, that hair was run through GEDmatch, a public genealogy site. And they got a hit, not to a killer, but to his third cousin. From there, they built a family tree, branch by branch until only one name remained, Jared DeVries. At the time of the crime, a fireworks vendor. No record, no suspicion. When they knocked on his door, his face turned white. "She was just a kid," he whispered. "I didn't mean to." Monica's remains were found 30 miles away, buried under a sycamore tree. The tree had initials carved into it. M+R. Her cousin Ryan's name. DNA never forgets, but the earth remembers, too. Case 5. The Woman Who Knew Too Much. Detroit, Michigan, 1998. Diana Carter was a street-smart, 28-year-old single mom. She worked nights cleaning law offices. But she was also an informant. And in 1998, she vanished. Her car was found near an abandoned church. No blood, no body, just her badge, torn in two. Rumors said she was silenced. Police said she just ran. But in 2022, a nonprofit called Project Justice Echo reopened her file. They got a court order to test evidence that had been sealed for 20 years. Inside a locker, one envelope. Inside the envelope, a pair of gloves labeled unrelated. They weren't. DNA on the inner lining matched a detective who'd worked her case. He retired in 2002 and moved to Mexico. Turns out, Diana had filed a complaint against him weeks before her death. A pond was drained. Her body surfaced, wrapped in tarp, bound with zip ties. The gloves were key. The system had buried her. But DNA dug her up. 5 cases. Different cities. Different victims. But one truth. Every case involved a girl or woman ignored, overlooked, forgotten, buried, sometimes literally. Why? Race, class, power. What cracked them wasn't luck. It was relentless advocacy, new science, and DNA. Not all killers leave fingerprints, but most leave something behind. And when time fails, DNA never forgets. Some cases still wait. Names you've never heard. Victims without faces. Families without peace. But now you know, a strand of hair, a flake of skin, a piece of truth. Share their stories. Support the science. And if you've got DNA to spare, maybe you're the missing link in someone else's puzzle. Like, subscribe, and join the search for truth. Because the past is loud, and it's still speaking. Because the past is loud, and it's still speaking. Remember the detective whose DNA was found on Diana Carter's gloves? Yeah, the one who fled to Mexico. They found him, dead, face down in a motel pool. No witnesses, no fingerprints. And guess what was floating beside him? A sealed envelope. Inside, one word, written in red ink, Maribel. Let's talk about Maribel, because she disappeared in 2003, and she was never meant to be found. Case 6, the name in the envelope, Phoenix, Arizona, 2003. Maribel Suarez was 19, undocumented, worked in housekeeping. Her dream? Nursing school. She vanished after leaving work at a downtown hotel. Security footage showed her walking toward a silver truck. Then nothing. The case was ignored. No alert. No media. One officer wrote, likely voluntary departure. But that officer? It was Detective Carl Danvers, the same one linked to Diana Carter's gloves. The same man found dead in Mexico. It gets worse. Inside a box in his storage unit, police found a hotel keycard from 2003. The same hotel where Maribel worked. DNA swabbed from the keycard matched skin cells recovered from a plastic bag found near a desert ravine in 2022. The bag contained bone fragments. And a crucifix. Maribel's crucifix. The one her mother gave her on her 18th birthday. Case 7. The Two Girls in the Forest, Portland, Oregon, 1999. A hiker found 2 backpacks beneath a rotting log. Inside, school books, candy wrappers, and a note that said, "We'll be back before dark." They never were. Jillian Kim and Zoe Adams were both 11. They'd gone exploring after school and vanished into the woods. Their disappearance devastated the town. Volunteers searched for months. Nothing. The case turned cold. But in 2021, a genealogist studying Jillian's family tree got a DNA request from a long-lost cousin in Canada. When she uploaded it to GEDmatch, something strange happened. The system flagged a familial match to a rape kit from 1996. The attacker? Never caught. But now, the profile overlapped with a man named Russell J., a park ranger from that era. He lived near the woods where the girls vanished. When police reopened his file, they found a journal. Inside were hand-drawn maps and a list of names. Jillian.
Zoe. Maribel.
Yes, Maribel Suarez. The one from the envelope. Case 8. The code in the necklace. St. Louis, Missouri, 2002. Back to Jane Doe 13. The woman whose necklace was found in Letitia Green's hand. Turns out, the necklace wasn't decorative. It was a USB flash drive hidden inside a locket. It had one file, a text document. No name, no date, just GPS coordinates. Police followed them to a burned-down house in St. Louis. Underneath the floorboards, cadaver dogs alerted. DNA confirmed the remains of Avery Glenn, age 25, missing since 2002. But there's more. The file had a second line of code /folder/1. That path led to an encrypted server hidden in the dark web. Cyber experts cracked it. What they found? A list of 23 names. All missing persons. All presumed dead. And they weren't random. They were all women. All disappeared between 1996 and 2005. And here's the pattern. Each case was handled at some point by Detective Carl Danvers. You think it ends there?
Wrong.
Last month, a user on a crime forum posted this. Carl Danvers didn't act alone. He was part of something bigger. A cleanup crew. Attached was a blurry image. A group photo. 6 men. 3 in uniform. 1 in a lab coat. And in the corner, a girl.
Blonde.
Tied to a chair. Eyes closed. The file name? Subject _34_ awaiting transfer. This isn't just about forgotten victims anymore. This might be a network. One that crossed state lines, time zones, and decades. DNA cracked the door open. But what's behind it? We're just getting started.
Like. Subscribe.
Turn on notifications. Case 9. The voice on the tape. Baton Rouge, Louisiana, 1995. She called 911, but no one ever answered. Clarissa Boone was 22. New mom. Studying criminal justice at a community college. One night, she vanished while walking home from her late shift. The only clue? A single voicemail, recorded after she disappeared. It was static-heavy and eerie. A woman's voice, whispering, "I'm at the blue house by the levee, he won't let me go." No one could trace it. No one believed it was her. For years, her case was shelved. Until 2023, when a true crime podcaster named Maya Trent found the 911 tape buried in a public archive. She ran it through AI voice match software. The whisper matched Clarissa's college interview from 1994. Then came the shocker. The word levee triggered a search through property records. One abandoned home stood near that levee. Inside, a crawl space. Inside the crawl space, a box of cassette tapes, each labeled with a year. 92, 94, 95. One tape had DNA on the magnetic ribbon. Sweat. It matched a former volunteer dispatcher, Harold Gantz. He worked night shifts the same year Clarissa vanished. He also handled incoming calls, including hers. He'd never been a suspect, but now he was in prison. Here's the twist. Inside that crawl space were 7 more tapes. And 6 different voices. Only one has been identified. The rest? Still waiting for names. Case 10. The Boy in the Blue Pajamas, Chicago, Illinois 2000. A little boy, 5 years old, found wandering a parking garage downtown. He said just one thing: "Mommy's sleeping in the car." Police found the car nearby. Keisha Lambert, age 29, was slumped in the front seat,
Dead.
no sign of trauma. Her son, Marcus, was taken into foster care. Her cause of death? Undetermined. Case closed. But Marcus never stopped asking questions. And in 2024, at age 29, he asked for the case file. The autopsy photo revealed a tiny dot on her neck, a pinprick. Marcus ordered a private lab to test her clothes, stored for 2 decades. They found traces of atorphine, a powerful tranquilizer, not sold to the public, used only in veterinary clinics. That led Marcus to a former vet tech named Simon Hale. He worked at a clinic 3 blocks from the garage in 2000. DNA on the car's steering wheel, retained in evidence, matched him. Why did he kill her? Turns out, Keisha had just been hired as a temp secretary at the same law firm representing police in the Diana Carter lawsuit. The same firm linked to Detective Danvers. It wasn't random. It was cleanup. Marcus now runs a nonprofit named after his mom, the Blue Pajamas Project, tracking unexplained deaths of whistleblowers and witnesses. They thought time would erase it all. But from cassette tapes, to locket drives, to a little boy in blue pajamas, the truth is crawling back. And it's louder than ever. Absolutely. Here's a tight, powerful ending that keeps the suspense, retains the core story, and delivers closure while leaving a lingering chill. But here's the truth no one wants to say. Carl Danvers didn't work alone. The names, the files, the photos, they weren't trophies. They were assignments. A task force is now investigating over 30 connected disappearances. The DNA didn't just solve murders. It exposed a system, one that hid behind badges, that buried evidence, and believed time would erase the truth. But it didn't, because DNA never forgets. And neither do the families still waiting for answers. Some monsters don't hide in the dark. They wear uniforms and carry clipboards. And they're not all gone yet. Stay alert.